Parliament want answers from the South African Reserve Bank about its investigation into money stolen from President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala Phala farm. Members of the Standing Committee on Finance want the country's central bank to give it an update on whether any exchange control measures were violated. Well, let's speak now to the former Scopa chair, Themba Godi. Of course, Mr. Godi, when we look at how that session went just earlier this week with the Reserve Bank Governor, some MPs really not being satisfied with the quality of questions, of answers rather, he was giving about this crucial question of financial controls and whether those where foreign currency is concerned may have been or were broken by the president.
Yeah, no, very true. And I think, Kathy, maybe we need to start by affirming Parliament's right and powers to call anybody to appear before it and to submit whatever documentation that they may need. So Parliament was exercising its oversight responsibilities, and the Reserve Bank, as per legislation, has a responsibility to account to that committee. So their call on the Reserve Bank was not ultra vires, it was not out of order, it was in discharging their responsibilities. But coming to the responses of the Reserve Bank, I must also say that I thought that they were evasive. They were basically not willing to engage on the issues. The kind of responses that they gave were very superficial and not going into the kind of accountability that one should give to Parliament. But secondly, the kind of accountability that the nation would want to hear when it actually involves the head of state.
Do you think that has to do with the fact that they are still investigating?
No, not really. Like I say, when you appear before Parliament, when you are asked to account, you need to account. And I think there's a level there, there is an extent to which he could have responded without necessarily, giving the ABCDs of what they have found, if at all he felt it was going to impede the ongoing investigations. I think the first thing should have been, firstly, to confirm or deny that indeed foreign currencies were stolen, and two, whether or not, as far as they are aware, the Reserve Bank was aware, or Sars was aware, or these monies came into the country legally or not. I mean, that kind of broad outline was important to give the committee or Parliament a sense that there is some work that has been done, there is accountability, there is some idea about what they've done. But to merely say, no, we are cooperating with the law enforcement agencies, I'm looking for a better word. I don't want to say it was arrogant, but it was quite slippery, because Parliament is Parliament, and they account to Parliament and not to law enforcement agencies.
There are members of the opposition parties that are simply not satisfied with the way in which Parliament has gone about doing its work, in as far as really trying to get to the bottom of what may have happened here. And we see that they're now coming together more and more to try and fight and sing from the same hymn book. What would you say the issues to look out for may be, especially with how the Speaker responds to this? Because her office, of course, has also come out in her defense saying that the appointment of this panel is the first step of a process that Parliament has to follow even before it sets up an ad hoc committee.
No, I think at process level, yes, they are correct. But however, you will recall that it took a lot of banging on the door of the Speaker to get this one going. So obviously, from the other parties in Parliament, a perception of delaying tactics cannot be excused if it has crept in. I think if you look at the Section 89 of the Constitution, you will have to look at, has there been a breach of the Constitution? Has there been criminality or, breaking of the law, serious breaking of the law that has taken place? And I think it is those issues that will need to be looked at in terms of the money that was there. How much was it? Is it within the legal limit? Was it reported to the authorities? When the president said he's dealing in animals, does he mean that he's having another paid job which is prohibited by the Constitution? Those are things that he needs to clear. When a president conceals a crime that has happened at his place, is this legal or not? So those are the issues that need to be clarified to Parliament, so that Parliament can then be able to say there is a case or there is no case to be answered by the president. And in my view, the president came in on the ticket of transparency and accountability. And I would imagine that, without dragging the police, he could actually run to Parliament and give all the evidence, clear himself, and the dust is settled. But once this thing is dragged on and he hardly wants to say anything, then the perception, abounds that he has something to hide. When you also look at the issue around the leaked audio tape, which I think we spoke about sometimes in the past, for which he could not come to Parliament, the sealed submission to the public protector, the sealed CR17 bank statements, they all create an impression of somebody who always wants to do things in the dark, so to speak.
All right, Themba Godi, we'll leave it there with you for tonight. Hopefully your power will return sooner rather than later. And he is the former Scopa chair there.